Hi Virgo, welcome to your September 2019 Astro Update. It's Raina here. So September comes into being very similar to how August did. And that is that there is a cluster of personal planets in the same sign. So last month it was the Sun and the new moon, as well as Venus and Mars in Leo. This month, it's the Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Mars in Virgo. So for you, Virgo, this is your first house. And so it's all about you. And you may be very much about promoting yourself. And this is really a perfect time for that. Because especially with Mars being kind of how shall we say, a little bit pushy, a little bit aggressive, and, out there, and ambitious, for sure. And also just physical. So the first house can be your image, it can be your body, it can be just your sense of self. And with the Sun and Mercury here, you might be thinking about rebranding who you are. We're coming off of a new moon in Virgo, occurring a couple of days before the beginning of September. So you still have this fresh energy, and a lot of you are going to have your solar return or birthday officially in September. So this is, whenever you have your birthday, it's that feeling of a new cycle, right? And so there's freshness, there's newness, and you might just be feeling more energetic in general. For sure, when you have the Sun and Mars in the first. And Venus can lend a certain glow or aura of attractiveness to you at this time. Venus is the attractor. So regardless of how you feel about yourself, and, Virgo is known for being critical. People assume it's always of others, but it's just as much towards themselves, if not more so. And so regardless of what you think about yourself, other people may find themselves drawn to you for some reason. I mean, they might think you're gorgeous, but it might be something they can't put their finger on. And so basically what I would say is you're like hitting the ground running as the month begins. On the 14th, there's a lot happening because there's a full moon at 21 degrees of Pisces, and Pisces is your opposite sign. The opposite house is the seventh house, and this is the house of committed partnership. Typically, we say marriage, but it can be all types of one-on-one relationships as well. When I say committed partnership, I really mean romantic relationship. Whether or not it's like an actual marriage is not the most important thing. It's more of a relationship where you are, I would say monogamous, but, it gets a little bit tricky because what about polyamorous relationships that are really, they feel like three people are in a relationship together? Basically, though, we're talking about one-on-one relationships, so I'm going to leave that to the side and not complicate things. But if you have clients, this could be about them as well. But at the time of a full moon, the Sun is in the opposite sign. So, and degree, it's at the same degree in the opposite sign. So we're talking about the Sun at 21 degrees of Virgo. So it's that push-pull. It is connected to, a lot of times, if you want to call it tension in relationships, or kind of like me versus we types of, kind of like conflicts or decisions, or a crisis for some people where things are coming to a head. There's also at this time Neptune, which is retrograding and is at 17 degrees of Pisces, fairly close to that moon. And Neptune being retrograde means that some of you who actually have this particular transit, these transits in the 7th house, because this is a general thing, this will vary from Virgo to Virgo. If you do have it here, some of you may have been experiencing disillusionment with your significant other for one reason or the other. And this full moon can be like the straw that breaks the camel's back, or it could make you see this person in a different light. Maybe have more sympathy for them. If you have been perhaps judging them too harshly, not giving them enough credit, maybe you will soften. It all depends on what is going on in your particular relationship, I guess. It can run the gamut. But there's just an emphasis on relationship. And at the same time, Mercury and Venus, this is on the 14th still, Mercury and Venus are both going into Libra. So this is your 2nd house of earned income. This is good money mojo, because especially since Venus rules the 2nd house, when she enters her own house, cha-ching. So Mercury can have you crunching the numbers, which is something that Virgo is probably very good at doing and likes to do. So of all the signs, I would say that Virgos are probably one of the thriftier signs. And I didn't say cheap, I said thrifty, because I think that Virgo is a sign that really likes to simplify their lives. So unless you have maybe a moon in a fire sign, which tends to be more of a spendthrift, okay? So Aries, Leo, or Sag, and because you are next to Leo, you can have Mercury, Venus, and or Mars in Leo, and that will possibly make it more likely that you are, kind of like generous with others as well as with yourself. But in general, the sign of Virgo tends to be more interested in living a very modest life, and that includes what you spend money on. And so you tend to be more about like the function versus the form of whatever it is that you get. So in any case, this might be a good, with Mercury there, you might even come up with ideas on different income streams. So this can give you more of an abundant outlook. And then on the 18th, Saturn turns direct in Capricorn. This is your 5th house of romance and creativity. I think that, especially, I think this may affect artists maybe the most, because it can tend to make you more disciplined. Now that Saturn is direct, you may have been a little bit lax in some of your output, if you will. Maybe you took the summer off, who knows. But Saturn in the 5th house in general is kind of an interesting transit, because the 5th house is Leo's house, and it's very into having a good time. So whether we're talking about parties or concerts or just falling in love even, this is the house for that. There may be like a shift where you are now back into this desire, if you are single, for instance, to find somebody who you can spend the rest of your life with. And that's what's interesting about having that full moon in the 7th house. If it's finally over with, then you may decide that you're back on the dating scene. And even if you haven't gotten officially divorced or moved out from the place that you share with your partner, you might just say, you know what, I'm going to go and, declare myself ready for a serious romance. Because when Saturn is in the 5th house, it's not about just dating for fun. It's about, I want something that's going to last. Saturn is about the long haul. It's about, Saturn is father time, so something that stands the test of time. On the 23rd, the sun goes into Libra, so it's joining Mercury and Venus in that 2nd house. The sun just gives vitality. I mean, if you want to boil it down to anything, and maybe also your focus in your finances. And there still is that, this is an earth house, this is Taurus's house, and you're an earth sign. So you have an affinity with this particular house because it's practical, it's tangible, it can be your tangible goods. Although, the 2nd house is also about self-esteem, and so the sun here can give Virgos who may sometimes doubt themselves a little bit, some more feelings of self-worth, and that's good. And, one thing to mention too is that this is the equinox. So where I live in the northern hemisphere, it's the fall equinox, and either way, it's a power period when the sun is going into a cardinal sign. I can't believe that it's been 3 months since for me, the summer solstice in June, because I just remember talking about that, and it seems like yesterday, and it's been, it's happening again, and these are times when we really feel that shift. Of course, the seasons, if you live in a place where you have 4 seasons like I do, that really helps matters because you can feel the change in the air, and that's always like very evocative, to have that, because you always attach memories to each season, and especially in that shifting time, it just really does affect you. It tends to affect you. And then on the 28th, we have a new moon in this 2nd house at 5 degrees of Libra. So that could be, for some of you, implementing ideas. Yeah, this is what I'm going to do. I have this day job, but I am starting this business. And that's what I feel that some of you have already been tinkering around with some ideas of starting a business. And so you might just begin the month trying to promote things. And towards the end of the month, you're seeing the results of your actions, the fruits of your labor, so to speak. So that would be awesome if that's true. But in any case, it seems like it's all about you, Virgo. So I hope that you enjoyed this. If you would like a natal chart interpretation for your next cycle, or any other type of reading, the link is below for my online store. My website is rainamoonastrology.com. Take care. Bye.